Okay, hi everyone. I just got off the phone with Braden Crooks, and he is the founder of GroundSwell. So I know that most of you guys have already heard him speak and know what their organization is about, but for the most part, their organization is a group that is against fracking, which is also known as hydraulic fracturing, and it's a process that uses liquid and sand and chemicals to obtain and it fractures rocks, and the whole main goal is to obtain oil out of this. And recently, Groundswell's biggest accomplishment was in November of 2011. They passed a community bill, and it was to ban. It was a community bill of rights and natural gas fracking ban, and it was the first time in history. Actually, it was like this. It was the second time in history that this process was done by a community vote, and it was popular vote passed it by 72%, which was it's like a very, very large percentage that these people of the community of State College were in support of banning fracking. So when I was talking to him about media in general, and he said that I first asked what was like, how did the media relate in general at all to the organization, and he said that one of the big things that he's learned with Groundswell is that the way you get publicity has a lot to do with your networking. And he said that, so if they decide that they're going to host an event or some kind of kickoff in the community, that one of the first things they know to do is that they have to have these contacts and journalists that they know that they can reach out to before these events happen, so they know that they get coverage where they want it. And I also asked him if the media played a good, like if it was a positive role that they were playing in the effects of their organization, and he laughed because he said there was both. He said that there were some good things the media does and some bad, and obviously the good would have to do with the fact that these media outlets are covering the organization in the first place, because that's a huge, huge part of them getting well known. The more well-known they are, the better off they're going to be. So that's one of the big pluses of media and having the networking of journalists that they know, is that when the media covers this, it's getting publicity. And like for these kind of organizations to be successful, they need the publicity. But he said that they've also dealt with, this is actually a very, very young organization. He said he's already dealt with the fact that when there's media, there's also negative media. And he told me about an example when they had a kickoff event, and it was actually here in State College, and one of the news sources were interviewing him, and they asked him his opinion, and he made a statement that was something along the lines that he said the fracking industry has a lot to gain when they do this in the communities, and the people of the communities have a lot to lose. But he said later that night when he turned around to watch it on the television, they left out the part when he was talking about the community itself, and looked as if he was being critical of just the fracking communities, he was just a critic of the fracking companies, and had no intention of caring for the effect that it was playing on the people and the community around him. And his big thing was that obviously there's good things that come with the media and bad things. One of the last questions I asked him was about social media. And I know sometimes social media gets a really hard hit about being negative in our community and that we use it too much, but he has said, and he testified to the fact that social media is a great use. It's very, very useful for their company, and he said they do a lot of their stuff comes off of Twitter, and that way people that are interested can easily see what's recent and what's upcoming with Groundswell. And also they have blogs that people that are interested in Groundswell can all share their opinion, and that way they're creating pretty much a global community of people that are in the same interest of Groundswell among themselves. So besides that, I asked him, Braden, to explain what he would do if he wanted to start a Groundswell movement in a different city. And pretty much what he said, to begin, you need to find a big group of people that are in your interest, that want to work with you, that have the interest of banning fracking in your community. And he said that's the easiest way to start, is to start with a lot of people that want to be working towards what you're working towards. And with that, he then said that you would try to plan something that, he said, and usually a kickoff event is what they use, but word of mouth is one of the greatest things they can use. And he said that they would look to local environmental groups that also have similar interests, and by that they would take you would take these people with similar interests and just try to spread the word as much as you can, whether that be the social media aspect, word of mouth, or just reaching out to those resources that you know. And that way you're getting publicity, because the more publicity they're getting, if it's positive, the more that people are going to know about your cause. And when a cause like this comes up where, yes, there's people that will testify against that fracking isn't that bad of a thing, but there's a lot of causes of fracking, like the pollution, the pollution that it causes, and the negative effects that it can bring to the community long term, that people are going to stand for an organization like this.